feel free.
Yeah, I'll start. I haven't talked to Coach in a while, Coach, because it's good.
How
Looking
you doing,
forward.
Eric?
Doing good, doing good. Obviously, not as well as your team just did. Take me back to that LSU series, and in
Hmm.
particular the Sunday night game. You dropped the first game. It's a tight
Yeah,
second game. You turn that around and then really take it to a different level on Monday night. So now that you've had time to watch that series back, what stood out to you?
right. I want to just kind of preface going into the series. We've had some really good games against LSU. Like last year, we were 2-2. Everything was close. So I think we're very familiar with each other. And feel like really comfortable kind of like with that matchup. And so we had a lot of confidence going into it, first of all, and obviously they've had an incredible, start to the season. And we kind of went in there being like, someone's going to give them their first loss. Like, shoot, might as well, why not us, just to make sure and kind of told them like, make sure you're wrapping your head around that we're going in there with the intent to do that. And so I think just with that mentality and knowing how well we played against each other and feeling really comfortable and confident with the matchup. Yeah, I mean, they kind of dominated the first 12 innings, and then we were able just to kind of get our feet underneath us a little bit in that sixth inning, then took advantage of, a couple of mistakes on their end, for that seventh inning. And even just the 3 runs in that seventh inning to, give us a 3-run lead, I think was a big difference maker to be able to finish off that game. And we wanted to start, it was kind of a goal of our offense to start really well on Monday night. We've been playing from behind, like most of our games. And so a really concerted effort to really work from ahead. And obviously for offense to put up 3 runs, I think in that second inning, tack on another one, and then get 4, a couple innings after that, after LSU had been able to get on the board, I think was just the difference of that game. Thought our pitchers were outstanding, all of them across the board. Carl did a great job calling pitches. We know we have to play clean defense against them because if you don't, they're going to put runs on the board. That happened in game 1. It even happened in game 3, where we gave them just a couple opportunities. And, when you do that to LSU, it's going to produce a run. So I was proud of our defense with how we played and made routine plays, stole a couple hits, and just kind of a total team effort. But they're good games every time we played LSU the last few years. And so I'm just fortunate to be able to come out on top and really proud of our team on Monday night, because I think that was our best complete performance from start to finish in every area.
Obviously, that being a Saturday, Sunday, Monday night series on the road, take me through
Yeah.
how that affects your routine for the week.
Yeah, this week is obviously it turns around really fast, with a late morning, I guess, getting back on Tuesday. So we just got to manage kind of, how we're recovering a little bit too. But I just think like part of the reason you do different training throughout the year and you challenge them with different things is just to make sure they're pretty adaptable, and for us, it's a little shorter turnaround as coaches, just getting prepared for Georgia. I feel like our players are humble and hungry, and we're not sitting on LSU too long, that we're really excited about the next opportunity in front of us.
What have you learned about your group now? You're 28 games in. What's a couple
Um,
of things you've learned about your group?
they're resilient, and we kind of keep telling them like you're like you have to keep having a lot of confidence, like you're better, even though even as good as we are, like you're better than you even know, like so just keep like believing in that, keep having a lot of confidence. And really it's just a game of execution. So can we handle and harness and control the magnitude, the emotions, the excitement, the adrenaline, all the stuff that comes with both playing the game and certainly playing in this conference. But the game doesn't change. It's ground balls, it's balls and strikes, it's getting on base, it's, being a productive out, it's timely hitting. Like that doesn't change no matter who your opponent is. And you're really just kind of playing the game. It doesn't know who's supposed to win. So it's just a game of execution, and keep kind of feeding them some simple, but like really like valuable like messages, and just keep instilling like a lot of confidence and belief in what they're capable of doing. We have a lot of newcomers. So I think them just getting even comfortable in this conference too.
You mentioned the late innings, how you play well in those late innings. You play in a lot of close games and things. What's the
Yeah.
key to having that success in late inning games, especially when you have new faces like you have?
Yeah. I think we've been able to handle that. I think good teams know how to start and finish, and can certainly finish. And in those innings, we haven't beaten ourselves. We've made teams beat us. And I think that's a sign of a really good team. I think our pitchers have done a good job having a lot of composure and confidence. I think our defense has made plays in those moments. And, above anything, we've talked about this for several years. It's about big pitches and big moments, big hits and big moments, big plays and big moments. And regardless of the situation that you're in, it's just being able, sometimes there might be people on base, but it's being able to get out of it without giving up a run. It's coming up with that timely hit. It's getting on base, getting someone over. So I think we've been really good at, for this most part of this year, being able to do that. Just got to keep challenging how we start each game and really trying to challenge being able to work a little bit ahead.
Speak of your pitching staff and all the variety of roles that they have. I mean, Caitlin
Mhm.
Riley's been fantastic. Ainsley's a two-way
Yeah.
player. But, you
Yeah.
know, you ask them to some to start, some are just relievers. Just kind of that staff and what you've seen so far.
Yeah, I think they have a great dynamic in that bullpen half for a couple years. Carl's continued that. He's elite. So our pitching coach and what he's done in his career and what he knows and when the way he speaks and sees the game and how simple he can make complicated things, our pitchers have a ton of confidence in him. When he says something, he has a game plan. When he goes out there, they 100% believe in what he's saying and what he's doing. Um, they all offer different things. But I think what we've really tried to do is put them in different roles, whether it's been, hey, you're starting, so you get the full warm up and you're going into, hey, I'm the person that's a good middle relief and or I'm, the right matchup, whether it's been mentality and or it's been like, hey, my stuff following her stuff is probably a good way to, kind of face the batters or let them see something different, disrupt timing, whatever that is, and sometimes close the game. So it's been really cool to see that dynamic and relationship really blossom from the beginning with the pitching coach and staff. And I think the players do a really good job of what they do well, helping somebody else do the same thing, or reinforcing a lot of positive things about what each other are working on.
Lexi Brady obviously had the breakout last year, and now she's continuing it this year with the power numbers and what she's produced. What have you seen from her?
Just a lot of maturity, composure, confidence. Kind of always said this, the ability to let go is we've said this for a while, like just good players can do it faster. Like Lexi's so calm, like it doesn't matter if it's a swing and you're like, okay. And then all of a sudden she hits the ball off the wall in the same at bat, or she does something in one area, even, she had a ball that got past her a little bit this game and she's pretty locked down on ball security. And you can tell like disappointed, but it just doesn't carry over too much. So I think in the box, it's her ability to even adjust within her at bat, adjust within a game, and not get too high or too low with anything. Has given her that consistency. And I think sometimes those dangerous hitters are the ones that are over, going into that third or fourth at bat too. And she's had some really big hits. The walk off against Mississippi State, kind of that game tying hit off the wall against LSU in that sixth inning too. So just continues to be a big hitter in big moments for us. But her mentality and how like even keeled she is, I think radiates a lot of confidence to the people around her.
We talk always about chemistry within players and a roster. I
Mm-hmm.
think I could ask you about your coaching staff. You know, the new staff. How has that chemistry been
Yeah.
going since the fall and now into the season?
Yeah, it's really good. Definitely still a work in progress. There's something special about first, but they're definitely first. And so I think it's good communication. It's, even as a head coach, like a lot of trust and belief in letting them be in their spaces and stay in their lane. And even if it might be a little bit different. So I think just, staying committed to and investing in who we are and who we need to be for our players. And then going out there, and doing what we need to do on our end. So it's a great staff. I'm very fortunate for what we've been able to like put together here. And I think as our team continues to be a team on the rise and get better, so is our coaching staff, just as we continue to go through things together, communicate experiences, some ups and downs, just like your team, with the wins and the losses and things you go through. Like we're not above that either, but I really like the personnel that's here. I love it. I'm excited about the direction we continue to go, but we all continue to like invest in each other, invest in who we are, what our responsibilities are for the betterment of Ole Miss softball and certainly our players.
You go from LSU to Georgia.
Yeah.
Scheduling makers gotta love it. Although in the SEC there's no break. So what stands out to you watching Georgia on tape?
Different kind of offense, team than LSU, even just righties, lefties. Obviously they come in with a ton of power. It's a lineup that almost everybody in it can change the game with one swing. It's what they do. They do. They have good pitching, they have good balance in their pitching staff, with even some different looks. So just a well-rounded team, but a different offense than we played at LSU for sure. With the ball getting up and getting out and what we know they want to do and what their strength is. Generally play good defense and they have good pitching. So for us, it's just going out there and playing Ole Miss softball and keeping a game of execution and not making it bigger than it is, but going out there and certainly execute. And it'll take us playing complete games to be able to win these games against Georgia. Being able to get on base, put up some runs because we know they're going to do the same thing. And I think defensively, we got to play really clean. We got to take the bat out of their hands and we got to be able to steal a couple hits.
Great. Connor, I'll pass the floor to the rest of here if David's back.
Yeah, David, you want to take it away?
Yeah, guys, and I apologize. And if I ask anything that's been asked, I'm sorry. I haven't heard very much of this. Jamie, I want to ask you about Carl Golan.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I mean, I think a blind person can see there's even been an uptick in the pitching performances this year. How did you go about getting him, with his New Zealand background? And what have you seen with the work he's been able to do with the staff?
Yeah. It's kind of like recruiting, when you're hiring, it takes a lot of conversations and communication and talking to people about who they know, who they've heard of, anyone. And I got his name really late, actually. And so, from a coach that I owe something to for sure. And so I just looked Carl's name up, and obviously when you read his bio as a player, he's just elite. And it took one conversation to know he's just it's different. It doesn't take long to realize it's a different mentality. The way he knows about championships and championship culture and what it is and what it takes and what it looks like, what he's been part of. It was kind of I think we talked for 3 hours, our very first conversation, and then it went to the next day and it was, I think the right fit at the right time for both of us too. So he's got a killer mentality. Like I'll say, like he's a killer, like his mentality and the way he is, it's just elite. I think how simple he can make something that maybe doesn't seem as simple to other people, but in reality, it actually really is, and his confidence in that. I just think it's, for where our pitching staff was, and obviously a transition, he is certainly the right fit at the right time. He's just elite. He's the mindset, what he does, what he knows, how he sees the game. And he's not just a pitching coach. I mean, even as a player, he was a hitter. He was a fielder on some world championship teams. And so he just understands the game and what it takes. But above anything, he knows winning. Like he knows winning and what it takes and how to handle moments.
Okay. Talk a little bit about the left side of your infield. I mean, both of those young ladies got here from the transfer portal.
Yeah.
In your view, how is Delaney, how's Ryan kind of melded into the starting lineup?
Yeah, they keep getting better, Delaney is just got like butter hands, like 4-year starter at Illinois, had just consistently make plays, very composed, extremely confident. I think it's a really good match for Ryan, who's just a little younger as a sophomore. Ryan's a ball player. They both are. And I think what's been fun to see is just them knowing and proving like they belong, and not just belong, but like they're exceptionally good at what they do. And I think, our game is played inside 60 feet so often that especially against most opponents, that to be able to have a lockdown left side is such a difference maker. And I don't want to say that because I think Ange and Paige on the right side have been incredible. Ange has been outstanding at second base. And so, but I think for our new kids and even Jaden in left field, our whole left side is new. So that's been some development. It's been fun to work with them, and it's really fun to see their development and their confidence grow with every game and series we play.
Okay. If the new stadium was ready, I don't think there'd be any doubt it'd be capacity this weekend, but it's not ready.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, kind of a sidebar question here, but what's it been like playing at a construction site? And I mean, I know we all know what we're working towards, but what's that like?
Yeah, it's definitely different and has its challenges. The field is great, obviously, like the stuff that we have is great. It's your question is kind of like what isn't there yet. It's
Yeah.
definitely different, it doesn't, maybe I think the home field advantage of having your own crowd, packing the stadium, letting the other opponents and stuff like hear about some things and kind of feel a little bit of the noise and stuff. Like we don't have that as much because everyone's in the outfield and you just don't hear each other as easily, from that distance. And so it's been an adjustment for our parents too. And we appreciate kind of their patience with everything. I think our administration, stuff being what they are, really made a concerted efforts to bring in some extra screens, bring in TVs, like really try to do everything they can for one, the environment, two, the experience of the parents, and obviously supporting their kids essentially. So definitely different. Glad it's only 1 year that we're going through this. Obviously next year, we get all the gains from it, but it's definitely a challenge, like being at home and you have to kind of create that atmosphere, know like what you're playing for and just like be dialed into that versus maybe it being there when you just walk into the stadium too, but it's just kind of part of the process.
Again, I apologize if this has been asked, but I mean, you're 28 games into this season. Just your assessment on where this team is and even where it can go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just think we keep getting better. They're really receptive to what we're doing and what we need to continue to like do a little bit better. Seeing something for what it is. And I just think the biggest thing will just continue to be the confidence and belief in like who everybody is, what they're capable of doing and what we're capable of being as a team. I really like the balance of our team. We have pitching, we play defense, and we can score runs. So I think we're challenging the consistency and the level to what we do that, which I think every team is doing that. But how consistent can you be and to what level can you consistently execute? Is I think our challenge right now too. And but Ole Miss softball is to take care of Ole Miss softball, and there's plenty here, and especially when you have pitching and you can play good defense, you should be in a lot of games. And then it's just about timely hitting. Then I think we're even realizing that you can use your pitching and defense to turn around for your offense to come out and just be +1 or +5 or however many it is. But and letting that be a part of our identity is that we can pitch and play defense and keep us in a lot of games and go out and find a way to win offensively.
I talked to McKenna yesterday, and I just want your thoughts on her growth as a pitcher.
Yeah.
I mean, what she did at LSU was absolutely phenomenal.
She's kind of been doing that all year, David. So I think I'm proud of her for
Not against LSU.
correct, for doing what she's done against an SEC opponent. And I think that goes back to like we're still trying to execute pitches regardless of who's in the box. We're still trying to, do this and expand the zone, whatever we're trying to do. Like when we say the game doesn't change, it doesn't. But can you do it without feeling the magnitude of who you're playing? And there's been I think 3 games specifically, David, that McKenna's gone 7 innings, and it's been the extra inning game against Nevada, I think early on in Hawaii. I think maybe Pitt or Kennesaw, and then another game where it was 2-1, 3-1, extra innings, and she went all 7 innings. And that was an area like just her mental growth. This year, I think it's a couple parts of being comfortable year 2 after transferring. And I think, just her and Carl and who he is and how he can get all of that out of our players. Like, I think that's kind of just a great combination for the 2 of them. But you're right, against LSU, she hasn't done that yet, but that's actually who she's been in a lot of different performances. So I'm proud that she didn't change who she's been. And that's the testament.
Okay. And you've got we talked about Carl Golan, but I mean, you've pretty much got a new staff. How is the chemistry? How has that been?
Really good. I think Eric kind of asked that question too. I think they're all elite and they all come from different places. And so from obviously DJ as a player, All-American, all everything, professional player, been in the World Series, multiple super regionals. Daniel coming from MLB, but his background is in fast pitch. And then Carl, same thing. Just so even Daniel and Carl are just kind of like getting into like, or back into, for Daniel, it's been several years and he was at Seton Hall, just female, like fast pitch. Like the game doesn't change, but it is still a little different. And even SEC. So I think like we keep experiencing first, and there's something special about them, but they are first of what we're going through, what we go through together. Obviously our communication, how our dugout looks like, how they communicate in a game. Obviously, that's probably been the biggest difference for me, is letting them be in their spaces and what they do with kind of that combination of what I'm used to or what, I need, even as like, just as my part. So each weekend it keeps getting like even more comfortable. But you're right, it's definitely different and you're going through things for the first time together. But we're no different than our team, like a little bit of a work in progress, and we're just stay committed and invested in who we are, what we need to do for the betterment of our players, and obviously, going out there and trying to win softball games.
Last question from me, and I apologize if it's been asked, but we're talking a lot about McKenna, but Jayla Lassiter was incredible down in Baton Rouge and has been all year. I just want your thoughts on Jayla and how she's hitting from the leadoff spot, and what she's doing.
It's a game changer, and I think it's I've said this before, it's just her mentality. Last year, Savannah Sykes was Warrior 1 and Jayla, being a freshman, was Warrior 2, just based off age there. So Jayla is the kind of warrior on staff. Her mentality is so elite, her confidence, she's got some anger in her, some snarl, competitiveness. Obviously she's a talent, so the combination of everything, even just as a young player. She's almost won that game for us on Sunday. My days are mixed up, but I thought Jayla, like her leadership, getting on base, scoring runs, that Sunday game, I just think she was the biggest difference of that game, coming out on top there too. And she continues to get better. But I just think she forces everybody to just continue to like believe in the confidence and compete like from the start, and she has some swag and confidence the way she plays the game. Like she loves playing. She has a passion for it. She's a competitor. And when you watch her, like, she's a difference maker for sure. And I thought that LSU series, I wish she would have been, I thought she could have challenged for like SEC Player of the Week, because without her, that series, I don't know that we don't do that. Our pitching staff did it. McKenna did a great job, but we don't come out with a series win without Jayla last weekend.
Yeah. Okay, Jamie, thank you very much.
Thanks, David.
Eric, anything else for Jamie?
I'll ask about, you've now been in the SEC now, so you're not surprised with the competition and the quality and the depth. Once again, this year is proven by the teams ranked in the RPI and in the polls.
Yeah.
But so what is that, in a way, something that you keep in the back of your mind when you start a season and you're like, we're playing the long game. Let's just be ready when we get to conference and learn what we can do in the non-conference, because it seems like your teams have a history of turning it up and peaking at the right time in conference.
Yeah, and it's not by design. I do like that we continue to get better, because I agree with you. I do like that we continue to get better throughout the season, which is why you play a season. And I think we've been able to kind of play our best. We've been a tough team to beat, especially down the stretch here a little bit. So I like that. And but it's not set up by design to necessarily do that the last couple of years. So but I do like that we continue to get better, and when our competition, like when we face it, we'll get tested every weekend in conference here, but gotta be ready every single weekend. Like there's no breaks, there's no game off. Like if someone can beat you and keep you down and, win the series, sweep the series, they want to do that. So you have to have a lot of resiliency and fight in this conference. Got to be able to get punched on Friday and punch someone back on Saturday, or do the opposite, know that they're coming, full bore. So, but I think you're right. And maybe over time, I'd like to even that out a little bit, but I do like that we are trending in the right direction.
And then my last question, obviously there were some rules that were added this year, the 20-second pitch clock, for example, more extensive replays. Any reaction to that so far from what you've seen in the games you've been involved?
Not really. I think probably if I would maybe say one thing that has come up probably a little more than in the past was just leaving early. That's the one for us, that whether it's been a straight steal and or just a play on the bases, has been that one that has seemed to kind of be the difference maker a little bit from the previous years. We've adapted the 20-second clock pretty well. So, you know, I think that's good for our game. It's good for the speed of everything too, but I don't think that was much of adjustment. Just probably the biggest difference that we've noticed that has come into play both ways is just leaving early. Being able to review that one.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Eric.
All right, if there's no other questions, we'll wrap it up.
Thanks, Connor.